So what if your pen ends up with a tiny little bit of a gap here when you've reassembled your piston? Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video with Jessica. Today I will be showing you how to maintain your TWSBIs. So whether it's your first TWSBI or your 50th TWSBI, I think there's something that everyone can learn in this video, because I will start out with showing you just how to clean your TWSBI. Then I'll go into how to disassemble your TWSBI, which is very, very detailed, and how to re-grease it and put it back together, and some quick little troubleshooting tips. So I hope you'll stick around and maybe learn a thing or two. Hello, okay, so welcome to the overhead camera. I also have this other camera view. I don't know if this is something that you all enjoy, but since we're doing something that's pretty detailed today, I thought that this view might be helpful so that everyone can have a really detailed look at what's going on here. So first off, in the TWSBI maintenance, we are going to clean out a TWSBI fountain pen. You can see this one I have filled with a shimmer ink. And let's just say I want to switch out the ink, or I'm just doing a routine clean on this pen. I'll show you all how to do that here. So first up, I actually don't want to waste this ink. It's just an ink that I like. I think this is the Bachorium, one of the Bachorium inks by Tono and Limbs. I can't remember which one exactly. They all kind of look pretty similar. This one has shimmer though, so I do want to keep hold of this, so I have a different container here that I can expel the ink in. And with all TWSBI pens, you just twist one way to expel it, like that. So all the ink is out now, and I can use this in a different pen in the future. I can fill it in the same pen if I want to go back to this, but at least I'm not wasting this ink here. And then now I have the pen that I want to clean out. And what I've done is I've gotten 2 jars of water here, and what I really want to do is keep one very clean and have one be kind of like my dirty throwaway water. So what I'll do is, this will be the dirty water. So I'll start in this one, and I'll suck this up to fill it completely. I also have a paper towel here, just in case things get a little messy. And I'll expel all of this that's been filled inside the pen. You can see it's like murky, kind of inky water. And I'll just put it back into the dirty jar, like that. Try and get as much off the nib as I can. Now I'll go into the clean water, and I will only fill the pen with the clean water, and I'll expel it into the dirty jar. And you just want to kind of keep repeating this process until the pen is completely clear. You can see the pen now is a little bit clearer. The inside water is clearer than before. And I'll just keep doing this. Maybe we can speed through this part. Actually, if you're doing this cleaning process, you can also do this under the sink, under some running water. You don't have to necessarily do this 2-jar setup. The basics of cleaning out the pen is just making sure that in the end, the water is completely clear and there's no ink residue left. All right, so you can see that the water is pretty clear now. That's what I want to see. Completely clear, no trace of any ink left. So this will be my last one. There you go. And so once you're done doing that, the water's completely clear. You just want to dry it off. Try and get as much out of the nib as possible. If there is some still coming out, you might want to just give the nib a little more of a rinse to get as much out. And the paper towel should be pretty clear like this. You don't want any ink coming out. You don't want to see this. You want it to actually be clear like this. So this is good. And the paper towel should help draw out any excess moisture that's on the inside of the feed. But if there's a little bit of moisture left on the inside here, that's not bad. It's not going to really interfere with your inks too much. If you're really, really afraid, then you can let it dry out a little bit more. But usually the dab with the paper towel at the end is enough to draw out the rest of the moisture from the inside there. Alrighty, so that is how you can clean your pen. And now you can fill it with an ink of your choice. The next one I'm going to fill it with is probably this Harbor of Dieppe by Dominant Industry. It's a very, very nice, another shimmer ink. I'm pretty liberal with shimmer inks inside of my TWSBIs because they haven't clogged up my TWSBI yet. Other people might disagree, but I've had a good experience with it. So that is how you clean out a TWSBI pen. Okay, so now we're going to actually disassemble a TWSBI, and I have a new one here because TWSBI actually includes a lot of the materials that you need. Actually, they include all the materials that you need for disassembling your pen if you want to clean out the inside, if the piston is getting a little bit stuck and might need to be re-greased, if you want the pen to dry out completely, or just if something's functioning a little bit weird. They give you everything that you'll need to service the pen yourself. But when you get a new TWSBI like this, you really should not have to grease the piston like this. When you have a new TWSBI, the pen should actually be very, very smooth. This piston mechanism here should be very well greased already and should be smooth like this and shouldn't actually need to be greased at all. So you should only be opening and disassembling your TWSBI after having it for a while, or if you need to clean it out on the inside, probably not when it's right out of the box. Okay, so these are the contents here that TWSBI gives you. This is the espresso pen that I'll be doing. I'm actually gonna buy this one later today, so I better do this right. There's a wrench in here. The old ones used to be metal, I think, so if there's a metal one in yours, don't freak out, it's all good. And then there's some silicone grease here. And they give you like a little bit of an instruction manual here, but it's not the most detailed, so I'll make sure to walk you through it. It says not to over tighten this here and only put silicone grease on these little connection points that go on the inside of the barrel. So TWSBI does have another instruction manual here that shows you how to clean the nib before you start writing it and how to take apart the nib for extra cleaning. So they do have something that demonstrates that there. But let's close this up and show you how to disassemble this pen. Okay, so here's the pen. So I'm actually going to do this with the cap off. It's better to do with the cap off, otherwise it'll create kind of a vacuum seal here. And then you'll take your wrench and unscrew the end cap here just a little bit to make a gap for the wrench to go in. And I don't know if you can see this. This is very, very difficult to see. But this section of the TWSBI here between the end cap and the barrel actually has a little divot that the wrench slides onto, so it's like a little flat portion. If you try and put it on in a different direction, it might not go in. So you might think that you have to like unscrew it a lot more, but you just really have to put it into that notch that it fits in like this. Then you screw the end cap down just a little bit to make sure that the wrench is securely in place on the piston mechanism. Then you will take the wrench and make sure to twist it clockwise. This is different than normal because you usually hear righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but for this pen, since the threads are internal, they're reversed, and so you twist it right like this, clockwise. So you'll see the piston is starting to be removed. Just keep twisting. And then once the threads have all been unscrewed, you should be able to just pull out the entire piston assembly like that. Now, if you want to re-grease the piston, you can take your silicone grease. I'll just set this down here. It's pretty secure if you tighten the end cap to the piston really well. And it's got this little nozzle here. You don't want to put too much, like a little goes a long way. So let's just pretend that I'm putting some silicone grease on here. You can put it around the entire thing. I'm not going to put too much because again, this pen is new. It really doesn't need more grease. It comes pretty well greased. And then if you want to clean out the barrel, you can like take a Q-tip or like some longer piece of cloth and clean it out on the inside. Some people also put silicone on the inside. I don't think you really need to do that if there's enough silicone on the piston here. there's really enough between those two contact points. So when you're done greasing up the piston, you can just insert it back into the body like this. And you want to push until you feel some resistance. That's the beginning of the threads meeting each other. And now you'll twist the opposite way. So before we were twisting clockwise, but now we're going to twist counterclockwise. And you might have to push down a little bit to make sure that the threads catch. So you can just twist like this, twist to the left, counterclockwise, not right. And you'll feel, oh, yeah, you can see, I can feel it when it stops. You don't want to over tighten it too much because these threads are very small. And if you tighten it too much, it'll cause it to crack and then this piston won't sit right anymore and won't be very tight. So just tighten it just a little once you feel that resistance, once you feel it stop, and then you can pull out the wrench. You can loosen the end cap just a little bit, pull out the wrench, and then twist it all the way down. And if you did it correctly, you shouldn't see any gap here. And that is how to disassemble your TWSBI. So what if your pen ends up with a tiny little bit of a gap here when you've reassembled your piston? It means that there's something wrong with either the end cap or the piston here. So we'll have to take this apart again and disassemble the piston to figure out what's going on. So same steps, turn clockwise to unscrew. And when it's out, pull it out. And so there should be a little bit of a gap here in the piston, but it looks like this is a little too small. So what you can do is unscrew the piston completely. It'll just pop out like this. And there are a bunch of these different parts to the piston itself. And you'll want to make sure that you assemble these correctly. So this little piece goes on this end here. The part that has the longer portion is what holds this screw for the piston. You can put that in there. And then holding all of this, you want to put the end cap onto this end portion here. And you can see that there are threads here. You only want to screw it on to the end of the threads, but there won't be much of a feeling for you to stop when you've reached the end of those threads. So you have to watch it very closely. So you can screw it on like that. And when it's at the end, bam, stop like that. And then for this screw part on the other end, if it's not going in, you'll have to screw the end cap just a little bit to get the piston, this part, to catch on the inside. So when you've got it and you screw the end cap down all the way, there should be more of a gap like this. So now we can unscrew just a little bit, put in our wrench again. So then you can reassemble the piston like that, screw it to the left or counterclockwise, untighten the end cap, same steps as before, and now when the pen is completely filled, there should be no gap. I know that part's a little bit confusing. JetPens actually has a very, very good video about all the steps, so if you're having trouble, you can also check out their video. It's very, very helpful, and hopefully you'll be able to maintain your TWSBI for a long, long time. Alrighty, that is it for today. If I missed anything or if you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Give the video a like, maybe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.